So we're working on this site here in Dumbarton. It's granite sand soil, fairly deep. It's approximately 10 acres of paddock we're working with to rehabilitate. It's got severe erosion problems in winter, and what we're doing is we're establishing basically 3 lines of defence. The first line to slow the water down is a row of swales and also 3 soaks. As you can see where the bobcat is, he's digging out a 1.5 million litre soak, and where the excavator is, he's digging a swale. So along the top part of this paddock, we're digging a set of swales and 3 soaks. Then further down, another 80 metres down, you can maybe just mark, maybe you can just see the laser level on the pegs. There's another swale, just a swale, no soaks. And then another further 80 metres down, I haven't pegged it out yet, but there'll be another swale. So 3 swales, and the top section here has 3 large soaks as well. So that's the reason we're going with swales and soaks, and then we'll be establishing a tree system to hold the soil in place, is to stop this severe erosion. Where you can see behind the bobcat, going straight up the hill, is a gutter. We have 100 metres, this is a granite ridge, 100 metres in elevation from where we stand here, and 300 metres of actual distance. So that's an enormous catchment of virtually 100% runoff. A lot of the runoff actually channels down through that gutter down to where the bobcat is, so that's why that soak will be the biggest there. The largest rainfall event in 24 hours that the property owner's been here for 20 years, that she remembers, is 70 millimetres of rain in a 24-hour period. And when that happened, she was saying that the runoff was almost knee-deep, virtually just a sheet all the way across the paddock. They've had fence lines literally swallowed up by the sediment, because it's just it's nice stuff to work with, but it does erode fairly easily, the granite sand, very large grains. There's a little bit of play, but not much. So the perimeters are, we start up, follow this fence line behind the machinery here. You can see a row of trees and a row of mounds. That's the fence line to where the truck is, and following the line of trees up to where the tree line stops, that's the bottom corner, and then following this fence line, you can see the fire break, all the way up to just a bit further up the hill from where that shrub is there, and then of course along to where we are here. So where the top row of swales is the key point in the design. It's the highest point in elevation where we could do storage, but in this case, because we're dealing with so much water, we're doing soaks instead of dams. There is the option to eventually line one of these soaks if we needed a dam and add another swale line to be able to cope with the overflow, but that'll be assessed in the future, and if they need the water storage. But it's a horse property, not a farm, so they're looking to grow their own perennial feed for horses, as well as some sheep as well. In 2 years' time, we'll be establishing a very large plant out of fast-growing pioneer, nitrogen-fixing, hardy, basically not really a food forest, but for horses, a horse food forest. So anything, of course, that a horse can eat, a sheep can eat. So if it's safe for horses, it's safe for sheep. So they'll be basically growing just on these swale mounds. They cut and carry fodder crop system. And they can keep their horses in the yards. There'll also be, between the swales, there will be cell grazing fencing established, and pasture eventually as well, with the biovital system of soil probiotic to help establish, to bring life into these soils. They're collapsed gravel sand, so there's virtually no structure to it. They're fairly lifeless. So about the size of it. They've got drinking quality bores, but the bores are drying up because the water, the catchment just sheets off down all the way down where the sheds are on the flats. They've got bores down there, and they've got huge amounts of water because of course the water is sheeting down and soaking in. There's a creek line there. Okay, so what we want to do we're looking to achieve with these swales and soaks at the top, at the key point along this hill here, is to soak the water in at the top here, and which will eventually, in a couple of years, replenish their bores, their drinking water bores here. It won't starve the people down the hill of their water, but it's just keeping the water uphill for as long as possible and slowly percolating through the soil and establishing some windbreaks and water harvesting, stop the erosion, grow food, heal the planet, etc., etc. So that's about it, I'd say.